The Pipes.
The Pipes are rolling us in. I love this song. Do you know this song? You know this song. You just don't.
Is this the Dropkick Murphys?
No, better.
Okay. No, I don't know it.
Mr. Steve Earle, Copperhead Road.
Oh, I do know this.
Oh, yeah.
I've been on Nashville's Broadway Street.
Yeah. So you've heard every version of it.
Yes, I have.
Good, bad,
Women,
and ugly.
men, with the fiddle, without the fiddle. You know, pipes without. I guess the pipes are always there, huh?
Yeah, but there's not too many like bagpipe players down on Broadway these days. No. We're back. We got another episode. Let's just get it out of the way, Jared. How happy are you that you are in the 62040, my friend?
Dude, I was driving here and I thought I like warped into a different world. I mean, this is the most depressing fucking town I've ever seen.
No, that's just the nicotine on your windshield.
Oh my God, I thought I was in French Lick, Indiana on a foggy day.
No. You cross over those tracks and all of a sudden you're like, God damn, he's got character, he's got no teeth, he's got character.
I can appreciate this town. These are my people.
You know, you say, oh, I'm from a blue-collar town, or, oh, I'm from a Rust Belt town. No, I mean, that's what this is.
I'm not from a blue-collar town and a Rust Belt town if this is the definition of blue-collar and Rust Belt.
Well, you can't get into town without crossing a railroad track, one. Actually, I think there's only one way to get into town now without crossing a track. And, obviously, right here on the St. Louis side of the town is Granite City Steel.
I passed a Quick Trip on the way in. I think it was the first Quick Trip ever built.
Probably. Yeah, no, I mean, it's the hand pump, the little dude will run out and clean your windshield, too.
I think they're still selling the Quick Trip book at the register.
Yeah, here's your 1972 Cadillac Chevelle, handbook. Go start your car again. We're in Granite City. We're at Pavia's place. Nick Pavia was kind enough to open his doors, give us a power source, drink some of his beers. How's your day going?
I had a good day in the world of logistics today for a Friday.
Oh, yeah?
Usually I want to claw my teeth out and claw my eyes out and all the other sayings that I just didn't make sense saying. But it was okay. So I can't complain. You the other day, I'm half full. 60% full.
60% full. Yeah, no, half full is debatable.
Yeah.
60%, there's room for a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I want to start with a quick recap of the previous episode, because it's out of the gate. The response to it's been really incredible, and it's really just a testament to the guest, the Mr. Tim Leonard. Class of 93, Melville kid, went to SLU, played some pro ball, headed out to Irvine, worked with Don Ebert with the Strikers out there, kind of cut his teeth honing the craft on the coaching training side, comes back here, he works with Dale at STLFC, was at the club, Scott Gallagher, now he's there, again, has been for a number of years, and, it's virtually impossible to find somebody to say a negative thing about the dude. And there's way more people that are willing to be vocal about how positive he is. So I had a blast with the episode, and he killed it.
Yeah, I what you said there is spot on. He's also the type of guy that if I'm in company of somebody that does say something bad about him, you don't know what you're talking about.
You're going to go Granite City on him?
Yeah, so to me, coincidentally, our guest today probably has some background with him, and we got a little theme going here. We got original guys, and Tim Leonard was definitely one of those from the wonderful Busch Soccer Club. So we're going to follow today up and here after the intro with today's wonderful guest. A lot of similarities there, but for me, driving home from that, I just had a smile on my face because that guy is a flat-out ace.
Yeah, it's funny because it's getting to the point where we're so privileged to be able to have these conversations and pump them out, and there's a lot of people that are really kind of positive, just feedback in general. Even like, hey man, I didn't know about this question. You got Jason Glover out there that busts our balls at every turn. Yet he's loyal. We love our Jason.
Yeah. I had multiple people contact me today after they listened to the episode. I mean, I think you release them in the evening, and then most people go to sleep at night unless they're a vampire. So the episode really wasn't out, too long. And so, getting some traction early on. And multiple people, approached me and said, the dude is just genuine.
Well, I think here's the takeaway. Here's my primary takeaway. If you're a soccer family, and specifically if you have a child that's going through the process now, boy, girl, doesn't matter, high-end competitive or just CYC rec, he talks about kind of the approach and how to view the game and how, as a coach, and even how he is as a dad to his own son that plays. And there were just a ton of tidbits that are like, okay, I can work on that, or I might shift this up a little bit, or I might ask this question instead of being that parent. It was informative.
My last take on it, and I'll leave it at this, is our kids are 14, 15 and maybe think that they figured it out, and us parents may think we figured it out. If these episodes from these type of guys would have been around when I was 9 and Drew was 9 and 10, I would have loved to just, because, and I don't want this to sound negative, but like Scott Gallagher, because they're running a club, they're not going to just turn around and have seminars and tell you what they're thinking at all times. They keep a lot of stuff close to the vest. And I think if you listen to some of these guys, you're going to get where they're coming from, their holistic approach, and you would appreciate it, especially if you have a youth really early in the game.
True dat. So go back, listen to it if you haven't already. If you have, do me a favor, share it. Because as these numbers start to grow, I talk more and more shit across the state to the Kansas City populace, and I need bullets in the holster, and that's how you can help us out. So there's that. Now let's quick thanks to our sponsors, supporters, Axis Physical Therapy. Quick reminder: state of Missouri now. You don't need a doctor's referral. If your child or any of you really have a knock, go straight to the PT. Roll your ankle, need a little work, go to the PT. You don't have to go pay that copay anymore and get a referral. Crescent Plumbing, again, they're going to fix your bath, they're going to fix your kitchen, they're going to keep you on budget, which helps save marriages. And then we've got Chris and Bill, our Pinnacle brothers. Those cadets, right? Undefeated their freshman year.
They were undefeated, and we joke about it, but it's no small feat. And I tell you what, look them up online, read a review. The reviews are genuine. If you're in the business to purchase a home, call them.
Yeah.
Call them. Just flat out call these dudes. I mean, you will thank us.
Which brings us to the pinnacle points of the day. What you got, Jared? Are you ready? Because if you're not ready, I got one.
You go.
I got one. Today I was listening to a pod. It's called Flightless Bird. It's part of the Armchair Expert series with Dax Shepard. He's got this whole series of podcasts. They're really good. Go check them out. And the topic was pizza. So a couple quick questions, Jared. Number one, I'm assuming you like pizza. Yes or no?
Love it.
Thin crust, thick crust. What do you prefer?
I'm going to go thin crust from where I was born, but I'm really liking that Detroit style.
Yeah, the corners.
Yep.
Yeah, those are pretty fly. Mm-hmm. I like those a lot.
And Chicago's on the bottom of the list, and I do like just the New York, the one slice, fold it, a little bit of flop, the Dave Portnoy. Love it.
So statistically speaking, on any given day, how many Americans do you think eat pizza?
100 million.
No, percentage. Give me a
percentage. Well, that would be 30%.
Not quite that much. The number's 15%.
Okay.
Pretty crazy, huh? And then also, did you know it wasn't invented in America, much like French fries?
Italy.
Yeah. Did you know that? I knew that actually.
I think I did know that.
I'm making fun because I used that analogy when somebody the other day was saying, "Oh, St. Louis, they just got into soccer in March." I'm like, no, not really. Been around the game a little bit. So pizza, that's my pinnacle point of the day. Go eat some. And if you're going to get some best New York style, I think urban chestnut.
I agree.
Go get the pizza in the Grove. You want something a little bit thicker, a little bit cheesier? I love JJ Twiggs Double Decker.
You do, and Jets is a damn good one.
Jets, that's fast, Detroit style. Thin crust, what are you going with?
I'm liking Peroni, Sarah's. I'm out there from the wrong side of the river, as you say.
Yeah, two rivers.
I like the Stefaninas. I like some of those,
What about Guido's?
Guido's is good.
It's a little bit of a trip for you, though.
It is.
All right, your turn. Pinnacle point, what you got for me?
My pinnacle point comes right back to this. The
weather?
Usually I say we're in beautiful, sunny, wherever. Well, this is not beautiful, sunny Granite City. However, we've had 71%, since we're talking percents, of people on this show from Granite City. And you drive through this town and you see where the hard work mentality comes from. You see where the humbleness, humble beginnings. People come from this town, they're hard workers, and just drive through it. This is no bull.
With your windows up.
Yeah, with your windows up. So it's funny to be here, finally. I remember coming here as a youth playing at the BAC, I think is the fields.
Yeah.
Over by is it a college over there?
It's Swick now.
It's Swick now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just remember playing there, but we'd get in and out.
Quickly.
And
soccer for fun. I'm sure you played over there, didn't you?
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
So that's really not a pinnacle point. That's just more of a commercial.
A commercial for Granite City?
Yeah.
Like Explore Granite City?
Yeah, come and do it, actually.
Well, I guess I'll go with my pinnacle report point. By all accounts, the starting lineup for tomorrow has been released.
Oh, it's stacked.
Do we have a better starting lineup to offer on paper?
Well, let's be clear. So
without
people are
Tyler
wondering,
Adams?
We're talking about the U.S. game.
Yep, against Uzbekistan.
The friendly here in St. Louis. That lineup is like...
So we got Dest and Robinson as the outside backs. We have Ream and who's the other center back? I don't remember. But then
I'm pulling it up now.
Pulisic's on a wing. Musa's on a Way's on a wing. You got Musa in the middle. I think you either got Luca Del Torre in kind of that 10 role, and then you got Balagoon, our new signee, up top. For me, McKinney's in that middle too. I guess Adams is still hurt because I think he has a place in this lineup, but that's a pretty phenomenal lineup, I think, for at least on paper and where those guys are playing at in the world.
Well, what makes me excited about it is, to a degree, yes, it's a throwaway game. Let's call it what it is. It's a friendly against Uzbekistan.
You can't have enough games together, especially with how split we are.
Well, here's where I was going with that. He's not testing things. He's rolling the best 10 at a minimum, if not 11, depending on the day. Put your best players out there. Start preparing because we've got a home World Cup in a couple years.
And for all those guys and gals that were bitching about the Gold Cup lineup.
Yeah, who didn't buy tickets to this one.
Yeah, who didn't buy tickets to this one. It's a complete different lineup here in our backyard. And by all accounts, if you saw what Way said on social media, he was very gracious towards the 76 St. Louis old timers and new timers. I mean, there's some younger guys on there like Brad and whatnot, but these guys are excited to play here in front of these fans.
I'm with you. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to roll us out. Quick break. We're going to freshen up our ice cold Miller Lights because on the Illinois side, you do not drink AB products. And we'll be right back with our guest for the day. Jared, you ready for this?
I am
down.
down.
Homework?
I didn't have to do homework today.
You didn't?
Nope.
As opposed to other days?
I lived it. Yeah, there is some days that you really want to do some homework so you don't sound like a complete asshole.
I'm with you.
So
usually
I
just look over.
Maybe like a little asshole.
I usually just look over Zach's shoulder and read his notes. He's good about that. Here you go. How about a little My Hometown on our way out? And we'll be right back with our guest. Take care.
Yo, Jared here. Remember the pool pandemic of 2021? I was infected. I needed my own oversized oasis in Wentzville. I needed a simple solution to pay for it. So I reached out to my favorite undefeated CBC freshman standouts, Bill and Chris at The Pinnacle Loans. long story short, I have my pool. It's a flipping hammer. The loan process with those guys was so simple. Even I did it. Now, every time I get in my pool to drink ice cold beer, I can thank the team over at thepinnacleloans.com. That's thepinnacleloans.com. 20-0 as freshmen? Really?
Crescent Plumbing Supply helps save marriages. Really, as families grow, kitchen and bath needs change rapidly. Designing and choosing the right fixtures takes way more skill than just scrolling Pinterest. Staying on budget and avoiding those foreign language order sheets, that's not easy. Lucky for you, the local team at Crescent Plumbing Supply, they are experts. They can help you ditch the baby's tub for a teenage shower and upsize that kitchen sink for all those tumblers, rosé glasses, and sports water bottles. So, when you're ready for that kitchen or bath makeover, go to crescentsupply.com. That's crescentsupply.com. It's cheaper than a therapist.
I've been waiting for a long time.
All right,
That's silky.
I don't know about that. Here we go.
Big pimpin', baby.
Red button.
Red light's on.
Red button. I didn't think you would be recording this song. This is straight out of Granite City.
It is.
Big pimpin', baby.
It's west side of Granite. Across a different set of tracks. With warning signs as you enter. We're back. Had a little break. We're down here at Pavy's place in Granite City. Drinking some ice cold Miller Lights. Sorry, Aaron.
We'll be back. We'll be back, Aaron.
We'll be back. You know what, Modelo. Next bucket is Modelo's. How's that? She's listening.
You know, I love that everybody is like freaking out that Bud Light's no longer the top and it's Modelo. But little does anybody know that's really grandstanding on it that AB InBev owns Modelo.
It's all the same thing. You know, and then there's really, really smart people with a lot of money that just put $100 million into Bud Light yesterday.
Yep. Bill Gates is one of them.
Yeah. I heard he's kind of rich.
Yeah.
You know that he never took more than, I think, his base salary. Like his salary his whole life was like $92,000 or some number like that. Obviously, it was all stock, right? But formality, we made more than Bill Gates.
I'm rooting for Billy Busch to buy it back. Maybe that's what Bill Gates knows.
Oh, I don't know about that. He used to come into Gaslight. Let's just say, I don't think that transaction is going to happen.
Did he do your IT work, Bill Gates at Gaslight?
No, you're talking about Billy Busch.
I know.
The crafting. He would come in, and true story, like the dude, who knows how much.
Ryan Heiskebo.
If you were to, can't even guesstimate what his real value is, right? But he literally, every time he came in, he had readers. He had glasses, right, to read the menu or whatever, or look at his phone. This is for months. One leg of his glasses were broke, gone. Like they would only have one ear and then over his nose. And his daughter was always with him. She's like, Dad, go get a new pair of glasses. Nah, these are fine.
I just bought
buy Warby Parker, dude. Yeah. Just buy the whole company.
Yeah. I just bought a 500-acre polo ground out there in St. Charles County.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. Hey, we got a guest sitting here, which this brings up a little point. The other night I was talking to somebody, there was a group of people who were talking about, a couple of the episodes, and the Daryl Duran episode came up, and the guy's like, I got one complaint, and it's not really a bad thing, but it's just a minor complaint. He goes, you guys talked a really long time before he came on, and I'm like, well, he was sitting there kind of laughing and pointing, and it was all good. He goes, oh, well, then that makes more sense. I'm cool with that. If I know they're sitting there listening, and our guest right now, he was sitting here listening, and he didn't leave.
Nope. Still here. He didn't.
There you go. Jared, drum roll it in. Introduce our guest of the day, buddy.
Today we have old friend, Triad Women's head high school coach, PE teacher, Mr. Matt Bettlach, from a long line of the coaching blood. Really excited about this one, Matt. It's so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you. It's been we talked about it, 32 years probably. What's going on, man?
Nothing. First of all, thank you for both of you for having me.
Tilt that up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yep. I'm just glad, you guys brought me on. I know you were looking for Taylor Swift to come on and be a guest.
Tay-Tay.
I'm just glad I'm second fiddle to Tay-Tay.
Yep.
But it's been a long time since you and I have seen each other, and a little gray hair, a little less hair for one of us. But thank you for having me, both of you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, it's one of those things. We say it often. We talk about it on the show. I think one of the beauties of the organic nature of the show is literally the guests, in so much that under every rock in this town, you will find somebody that has some lineage, some connection, some relationship to the game. You are absolutely no exception to that rule. And there's a lot of people that know your family, and obviously your ex-players and, teachers in the community at Triad. So I love it because we're able to shine a little bit of a brighter light on, both the past, the process, and then obviously now the present, you over at Triad and what you have going on.
Yeah, no, this podcast is great. And one of the things that my dad and I always talk about, he wants to see more coverage for soccer in general,
for the game we love.
Yeah, and he's noticed a trend in the papers that the high school game is not getting covered, but a lot of it's not getting covered in high school in the papers anymore because they're losing people.
Well, there's not a lot of papers.
Their shutters are dying.
Well, but he's the one guy that he loves his paper.
Walks out, gets the driveway.
Well, Maddie, let's start from the beginning here, man, just so our listeners and the people that are going to tune in can kind of get to know you and your family and your roots. And some of this information will be fun for me. It'll be, just a real fond memory. So, you kind of grew up, you start there, you kind of grew up right there on Lindbergh, right? Down in South?
Yep,
South?
Baptist Church Road, down the street from Ronnie's Plaza.
Yeah, Shotzi's.
A lot of Shotzi's.
The
pizza. You
pizza
guys are talking about pizza.
Yeah.
And all thin crust, but man, the sauce, the cheese.
Dude, well, so I'm in Webster now. I'm over off Elm Glendale area. Lou Bacardi's right there.
Yeah.
At Watson and Elm. Their pizzas. If you don't have rectangular tray, of serving dishes, you really don't have St. Louis style pizza.
No.
I do know that in my 10, 11, 12-year-old age group, I spent a lot of time because I think my mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Bertrand, loved to hang out with Mr. and Mrs. Scott Bettlach at the Shotzi's.
A little bit. Shotzi's was the place to go whenever we were at the soccer house.
Yep.
That place was packed, and they had one or two waitresses, and they just jammed it.
It was all family.
And every table you walk in was put together. There's 5 tables put together in rows, and then kids are playing video games, and buying condoms in the bathroom for 25 cents.
Yeah, two tables of parents with cigarettes and beers.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a long table with the food on it, and then on the other side of the food, you kind of divide the room.
Yeah.
It's all those snot-nosed kids, right?
Yeah.
Love that.
Start there, man, Matt. How you got the love of this game?
Yeah, youth game coaches.
Your dad. Let's touch on your uncle. The listeners got to know. It's exciting shit.
Yeah. So I come from a pretty big soccer family. Not only from my dad he's in the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame. He played at Quincy, won a national title at Quincy. His college roommate was Tom DiMaria, and so growing up, I've been around a lot of big names in the soccer in the St. Louis area. It's been pretty neat to be around this game and to meet the people that I have. But you start with my dad getting my brothers and I in the game, and we started there. And
well, quick question, because I have an image in my head, and I'm totally sorry for interrupting here. Your dad's in the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Did he get the green coat?
He's got it.
Okay. Does he wear it every morning to go pick the paper up?
Well, I'll tell you what, he hears
Jim
this,
Leaker.
he will now. That's what he does. He will, I'm telling you.
I love it.
He breaks out the green jacket every now and again. Go ahead.
I like the hot games at City Park when you see Jim Leaker.
Yeah, I know.
He's just holding the son of a bitch. He's just like, I got it. I'm holding it. It's hot, but it's green.
He keeps it on till 99. Once it hits 100, he's like, no, I'm going to carry this.
What's the heat index? I'm going to take this off.
Right. So your dad's a St. Louis Soccer Hall of Famer, national champ, siblings, extended family.
Yeah.
Kind of give us the quick family tree and what programs they all came from.
So if you go to my mom, I only had one brother, Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill played at DeBerg High School, went to University of Evansville. I think he At one point, he was still the record holder for most shutouts as a goalie.
Wow.
In a season. From there, he went down to coach in Louisiana, and then he went to Duke as a men's assistant coach in '84. He was part of the program in '86 when they won the men's national title.
Nice.
They beat Akron. And then in '87, he started the women's program at Duke.
Wow.
And then he left Duke in 01, 02-ish, went to University of Colorado. From University of Colorado, he went to Colorado State. Now he's officially retired as a D1 coach. And we can touch on that later because I still use him as a reference. And he is, I go to him on
Who
a daily
the hell
basis.
wouldn't? And I gotta, this is selfish, and I'm just gonna go down this road real quick. This show's not about me; it's about the guest. However, I have a 14.
We have to
Wait a
remind everyone.
second.
I have a 14-year-old boy that is a Duke fan to this day and wants to go to Duke because of your connection with Duke. It's when I was 10 or 11, we went to Duke soccer camp. I know you went to every Duke soccer camp because of that connection. And it's to this day, it's why I'm a Duke fan. It's why multiple of my friends, Jay Wright,
Yeah.
it's why we're all Duke fans and continue on with the family tree. But it's special. And it's, 30 years ago we all went, and I love Duke to this day because of that freaking camp.
When you talk about that camp, the one thing, and I'm not sure which one of us it was, but when we had breakfast, somebody ate Captain Crunch, those little boxes they gave us. Somebody there was like 6 of those boxes just piled up for breakfast. I can't remember who did it, but those Duke camps for me was, I spent my summer as a youth at Duke. I went to camp for the boys, and then I would work my uncle's camps on the girls' side. And I was around soccer for the entire summer with just, people from all over the world. And for me to experience that and to see how, things are done at a high level, kind of inspired me to be a coach. I knew at one point in time that this is where, I wanted to be. I've got uncles on my dad's side. My uncle Steve he coached and taught at St. Mary's High School and then DeBerg High School for 40 plus years. He had a stint at Korezu as well. And then, I have cousins played Division I, Northwestern, SLU. Cousins played at Benedictine College. So yeah, our soccer family tree is pretty deep and the roots are strong. And a lot of us talk about when Grandpa, we call him the Bear, when he was alive, and when we had Thanksgiving at the house at one point in time, he smacked his hand on the table and said, "I'm tired of talking about soccer. Can we talk about something else?"
Everybody, get out of here!
But that's what we did. You remember my cousin Dave back?
Yeah.
And when we got together, my dad and Uncle Mike, they all coached together, and Uncle Steve. That was the conversation. Soccer was the conversation in our household. So I've been a part of it. It's been in my blood since I came into this world.
So let's kind of let's jump around a little bit because I want to get into early on here your current role as a coach, the program. Give our listeners kind of a 101 on where you're at, who you're coaching. Tell us a little bit about the program because I want to get into some of your recent successes and talk about your methods. Really,
sure. So I've been the women's head girls soccer coach at Triad since 2014. But I've been a part of the program since 2003 as an assistant coach. My journey here, I went to McKendree College, and my high school coach, I went to Vianney, Mike Villa, took over.
Heard of them?
And Halsey's. I know Halsey's listening. They are the worst at getting back. Like SLU grads, they'll call back. Yeah, we'll come on. DeSmet, all of them will come on. But the Vianney kids, man, dude, pulling teeth. You are. I think you might be the first one.
Oh, it's an honor. It really is an honor. It's an honor. Should we drink for that one?
Yeah. What year did you graduate from Vianney?
1997.
All right.
As a 1997 for those who are.
Yeah.
So, and when I was at McKendree, and I left McKendree, I called Mike and said, "Hey, do you need help? I want to get into soccer as coach." And so he got me in as a JV coach for the girls. And at first I started out as an assistant for him, and then eventually I became the JV coach. And I was with him, and so he retired in 2013.
Right.
Okay.
And then I took over as the varsity coach, and I've been,
Hey, we talk about Terry Mickler's wins over 1,000 or whatever they are. You may know the number. Villa. I mean, because he comes over at some point, you can line the years out from that storied Vianney program and has all those boys wins, and then he comes over and coaches girls.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his total flipping wins?
Yeah, I don't know the total, but I just when I hear these names, it's just kind of like I just shake my head and a little bit of disbelief because here in Granite City, obviously we had Coach Baker.
Yeah.
You have Terry Mickler, who's obviously been on the show, fan of the show, and and you have Vader and Villa, and these names. All these guys, for the most part, they were North County dudes that all grew up together. Mm-hmm. And talk a little bit about Villa because our listeners have heard about the other coaches and kind of their mentality and their approach. Talk about how Villa was as a coach and how he motivated her, what his kind of process was, because you don't win that many games, and especially when 64 or whatever the number was in a row without doing something special.
Or have the dynasty with that enrollment size at one point that he had.
Yeah. As a player, when I played for him, it was, you had to bring your A game every day. He did not mess around. And in those days, there were so many kids that played in the program and so many kids that were just as good as the next. I mean, you could come on third string could play anywhere you want. Those guys could start anywhere. That's how good they were.
Yep.
Oh, quick correction. Derek Burton.
Yeah.
My bad.
Sorry, Derek.
But he expected, for you to come in and my dad played with Mike, and he talked about him, how intense he was, and he coached the same way. He was intense, and if you did not bring that intensity, next guy up. He wanted to. He expected us to come out and play.
Yeah,
and he coached the same. Like when I, as a coach with him, he expected a lot, and it's funny because a lot of my Vianney alum are like, man, he's coaching girls. Like, oh my gosh, like, how can that? Because
how receptive are they to that?
Yeah, because he was so intense, and like, now you're coaching on the girls' side.
A little different.
It's different. Did he lighten up? No, he was the same. He did not like.
Once a mofo, always a mofo, right?
And I remember
that.
one night on a bus ride home, we were talking about he went to a local college coach, D1 coach, was giving a seminar, and he went and he went to it, and he was saying he kept talking about how you got to befriend the kids and you got to invite them over to your house and you got to be chummy with them. He's like, no, that's not me. I expect my kids to play a certain way, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to baby the process.
Tim Leonard just said that in last episode, and it resonated with me because it makes a lot of sense. Tim Leonard is not that type of coach, but he specifically said you have to be yourself, and that's not how Villa was.
No,
so that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that my recollection really of Villa and those teams, in the early 90s in particular. I'm a little bit older than you. I saw a compare and contrast in styles between, the powerhouses. SLU was a very clean team. They were fast. They were a little gritty, but they were clean. You had CBC, which arguably had the most kind of talent, individual talent, right? Mm-hmm. You come over to this side of the river ourselves, we had significantly less talent, but we had a very, very militaristic system and a style. Villa's teams seemed to blend all of that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of players that they could have easily played at any school with the foot skills.
Yeah.
But you guys are grinders. I mean,
they're playing soccer, and then after they get done playing soccer, they're going to go get drafted in baseball. Just think about it.
Yeah. No, and athletes.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if people know this about Villa, but he was a 3-sport athlete in college. I think he got his college scholarship to Quincy was in basketball. He was a hell of a basketball player.
So do you apply some of that wish list or expectation to your players today with the girls? Are you encouraging of? Do you promote multi-sport activities.
Absolutely.
And how do you manage it? Because in today's world of the more and more competitive expectations within the game of soccer, how are you balancing that with high school kids and encouraging them to play other sports with the training and club and everything else?
Well, let's be frank. Also, the best high school teams now, boys and girls, are filled with club players. So, like, multi-sports that are playing club. I mean, your best teams probably had the most club successful players, correct? That played club and high school.
Sure. Yeah. We talk about what's the balance, and I think a lot of it falls on the kid, and do they have the mentality of can I handle the load?
Yeah.
And you asked earlier how many kids we have girls that play basketball and other sports. Yeah, I mean a lot of our kids, you look tennis players, basketball players.
Are they better than AJ was?
I don't know. If you ask AJ, he'll tell you no.
Him and Ravi, yeah.
But the studies are out there. I mean, the kids who play the multi-sports, it's good for them. Yeah. And I encourage. We've had kids who played soccer and ran track and field at the same time, because I love Triad and I wanted to support all the programs, and so. If our kids can benefit from playing multiple sports, then I'm a big fan of it. I'd say go for it. But our program is we got a lot of kids that play club too. So it's big for us, for our kids to be don't sport specific.
Yeah.
So
let's talk a little bit about Triad in particular, because for those of you that don't know. Troy, Triad, the school itself, it's kind of a wedge town. Historically, leading up to, through the 70s and 80s and early 90s, for the most part, Triad was kind of like, everybody joked, it's a little bit of a suburb of everybody else, because it had, bordering Collinsville, Edwardsville, everything on that side. I mean, way closer to the country than it is to anything else.
Right.
So when you come into that program in the early 2000s, coming out of the 90s, in which Grant and Collinsville, really on both sides, men's and women's, was really running the table. Triad was kind of a growing community. A lot of people were moving that way. Much like the Wentzvilles and St. Charleses of the world, flight. Going further out.
Yeah.
Talk about the kind of players, and was it a slow growth? Did you because soccer culture in Triad, it was there, but it wasn't as pronounced as the neighboring cities. So how did you, as the working with the coaching staff, how did you guys fan the flame to get the program to where it is today, which it's arguably a powerhouse?
It's when I first got there in 2003, I've never heard of Triad before. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I went to McHenry
or St. Jacob.
And Marine. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know these towns. And and when we heard Mike's leaving Triad, Villa's leaving Triad to go, or leaving Vianney to go to Triad, we're like, where the hell? Where is this? Yeah. And when I first got there, my expectations were low, but these kids knew how to play. When I first got there in 2003, I mean, the skill level was there, the work ethic, then the tenacity, that blue collar,
that we talk about.
Yeah, it was there, and I've seen it. It's been a continual. Just every year, a group comes in. We get 20 kids, and 12 of these kids can play. They know the game. They can play, and it's been like that every year since I first, in 2003 when I got there. And I was, like I say, I was shocked coming from, the St. Louis area and how I grew up in the Busch soccer club and, seeing the talent and there was that stigma from Missouri when you'd come over and play Illinois, you're going to go play.
Be careful. You remember
I know because let me tell you, when I was at Vianney, I got the shtick over here at Granite City a couple times.
Tournament champions.
Oh yeah. I had long hair, had the rubber band pull, hold my hair back. Those guys let me have it. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you were an asshole, and I loved it, dude. But you were thank God you were on my team because I mean, you didn't take no shit.
I was a baby. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, let me ask you this though, because I mean, I obviously from being over here, I know a lot of people that have moved up the bluff. You know, there's flight out of Granite over a long period of times into Edwardsville, into Glen Carbon, a lot into Troy.
Yeah.
Did you start to see that these kids that were coming up? You probably realized these are soccer families.
yes.
Talk about that. You know, who are some of the kids maybe early on or even currently that kind of stand out to you? And, you know, was there any kind of like parental influence that was obvious?
I think the name that first comes out to me is Tejada. We had Rachel Tejada, and she graduated in 2011. That was our first state title. You know, you guys talked about it players before.
Yeah.
She was the it player. And we've had Jody Ellis recently graduate. Her dad was a big time player at Collinsville High School.
Okay.
Then we had Bryn Presley recently, and her dad's a Granite City guy.
Yeah, BJ.
Yeah, I love BJ. You know, so yeah, I am starting to see now. I would think since that 2011 state title team, I'm really starting to hear about how their families have grown up playing soccer. The kids that, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about it. I love this question because I don't think we've had the same answer twice, and we've probably asked it at least 10 to 12 times,
If not more.
For you, you know, because you have a short period of time with these players, you know, because club obviously dominates the majority of their year,
Right.
You know, on the ball. So two questions. One, are you watching them throughout the year at tournaments, things like that? And when you're watching them, how do you describe when you see it? What is it for you and a player that gets you excited when you know they're going to be wearing your kit?
So yeah, I do try to get around and watch, and my daughter's now into the club scene, so you know, she's younger, but you know, now I'm showing up at tournaments, and my kids are at these tournaments, and so I love to go watch them play, and I have before in the past, even when my kids were, you know, I didn't have kids, I would still go and watch the kids.
Sure.
I love soccer, right?
Yep.
So when I see that and I say it, you look at a player who the game it's natural and it's effortless. You know, you look at how like Messi, when he makes that run, and let's say the ball gets stuck behind him, but he just reaches his leg back there and just brings it back up
At speed. Yeah.
You know, and we've had a couple players with that capability, just to be able to at speed take people on, and that ball just does not leave their foot.
Yeah.
And then just rifle it.
Well, it's funny. This is kind of similar to Pat Noonan's, and we'll let you go on. But Pat Noonan referenced body movements, like the way that the body he catches his eyes. Continue on, but like you had mentioned that we haven't had a lot of similar, but it's kind of going down that same mold, which is interesting.
You talk about body, and one of the things that my dad, when growing up, we listened to music, like in the car rides to the games, we would blare music, and he would sometimes break out the boombox before a game, and he would play CNC Music Factory, and that was our warm up. We would dance for a warm up, and then these teams are looking at us like, what the hell are these guys doing?
Dude,
and then
my dad would play Three Dog Night,
and then
we're like, what are you doing?
a little bit of that in there, but
Yeah.
then we would just stomp them, you know, just because. But you know, it's a dance. Soccer's a dance, and you've got to have that rhythm.
It's like the samba, right? The Brazilians got it down.
So at my uncle's camps, they used to do this. There was a guy from Trinidad Tobago, and I can't think of the name. It was soca music, maybe. Mm-hmm. But we would do fast footwork to soca music, and it was a salsa dance, but it was a ball at your feet, and it was awesome. And the kids who
That made it fun.
Yes.
Which that's one of the most grueling, fitness based, but it has to be done. And whoever came up with that is so intelligent, because if you're having fun doing that part of the game, you got it whooped.
Austin, when we traveled down to Austin in the spring, you get there, and it was a large Hispanic family base, and it was a party for them, and they had the boom box. and they put it on, and it was just cyclical. I mean, it was like, a revolving door, the same beat, same song. You felt like you were, the Luligans are over here to your right. But Beckett, and I think Drew even mentioned, like, they come off the field and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome! You guys should play music at our games." I'm like, "We're not bringing a boombox to your game."
I got a headache from the night before.
But to your point, like, little tricks like that. I mean, I'm just kind of free talking here. Why not? Why wouldn't you play music more often?
My dad would get us in a circle. And he would play the radio, and he'd be like, "All right, somebody come out, do some dances," and everybody got to mimic it or whatever, and and they were looking like, "What the hell are these guys doing?" You know, and then we'd stomp them. But I mean, that's kind of where I thought where I learned to love a game is in that genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're jumping around here a little bit, just for our listeners early on. No, it's wonderful. This is the stick of the show because I think people can relate. We're having beers, and it's not stuffy, but important for our listeners. Give us, I mean, and I know it's hard to talk about this. Give us your accolades, like state championships, and what's happening in the last. You referenced 2011 with the Tani kid. Tejada kid. Yeah, start there, or maybe before then. Where are we at in Triad here? How many stars?
How's the program going? Yep.
We've won, I think it's 23 consecutive conference titles.
Wow.
Up until we had 170-something game winning streak going.
Holy shit.
Waterloo defeated us a couple years ago. I think it was 2019 or 2018.
I remember seeing the news.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a big number.
Yeah. So
was it coaching?
Yeah, of course. Always.
I'm just messing. Go.
No, it always is, right? We've got the 4 state titles, 17 regional championships.
And just so everybody's on the same page, and I think they are because they are fans of the show, this school here is in Illinois, like we've referenced. So to win state, you have to go through Chicago. That's not real easy.
Well, I was going to ask you that, because you were talking about the stigma, the personal stigma for those of you that grew up on the West Side, going to the Viannis, et cetera.
Sure.
And obviously the illustrious soccer communities that there are, and your family is part of that. When you came over here, you were talking about, you're going to Illinois, blah, blah, blah. But talk about that aspect of it, because to win in Illinois, it's one thing to get out of your region, but you're going north. How do you prepare for that? And how hard is that, really?
It is tough. Not only do you have to go up to, Naperville's where they hold the, the tournament every year, but, we've been there a handful of times, and there was like, how do you say your name? Where are you from?
Yeah.
How far south?
Yeah.
Where is it at? If you don't say right outside of St. Louis, okay. But
they're the worst though. They're turds about it because they'll be Joliet.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
The fuck you are? That's a helicopter ride.
Yeah.
A little bit like you in your Holland days when you guys had your little makeshift team, and then you're like, well, who the hell is these guys from St. Jacob?
Well, we were playing Pegasus. We were playing a Chicago team, and actually this is at the Rockford tournament, the watermelon tournament back in the day. We make it to the finals. We're wearing cheap Hanes t-shirts with duct tape. And our coach, Norm Syme, who's from Troy, he put on the booklet, the team was from St. Jacob, Illinois. And I didn't read the booklet. I'm like, whatever, I'm going with buddies.
Yeah.
A couple Granite guys, some Collinsville guys, et cetera. We go up there playing Pegasus, and they're all, hey, let's kill these rednecks from St. Jacob. And we, me and Steve Van Dyke hook up. We score like 2 minutes in, and guys like, you guys are rednecks. And I'm like, look, dude, I don't know where St. Jacob is. So but now you're experiencing it, because it's funny. I love kind of this thing coming full circle for you. Your perception of the East Side early on, justifiably so, but now you're part of it.
Yeah.
How fun is it to go to Chicago and kick their teeth in?
It's awesome. I mean, it is awesome because they're very arrogant, and the coaches, some of the coaches, will barely shake your hand.
Yeah.
I like to consider myself a friendly guy, and I like to talk before a game to a coach, and some of those coaches, won't say boo. other than good luck or something.
That just makes it sweeter.
Yeah, it really does. And they're loaded, like their sidelines. There's a bunch of them, they're decked out, and you know what I mean. The arrogance, you can just feel it.
Yeah.
And
do you feel like people thought that this was Busch back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, totally, dude.
Yeah.
We totally, you guys, with the kid. Oh, and you got soccer park, field 1, whatever. Come play on the gauntlet.
True.
Hey, we're gonna take a quick break here. Our carpool co-host showed up. He must have got stuck by a train.
He just put something on the table.
Yeah, we got some liquid courage coming our way here. Gonna run out here, a little Van Halen. Take a break, refill, and we'll be back. Add another voice and some more questions. Catch you next.
Years old. When I'm not playing soccer.
Yo.
Zach here. I love my kids, really. And when my kids have a knock, a sprain, a tweak, I like to get them back to 100% as soon as possible. I also hate deductibles. I get it. But now, in Missouri, I don't have to waste any unnecessary copay after my child rolls their ankle because now I can go straight to a PT. No more pediatric visits in a germ-infested lobby waiting for permission to go to a physical therapist. Axis Physical Therapy has 19 locations from Glen Carbon to Winsville and specializes in rehab, especially soccer rehab. So instead of burning a couple of needless hours and cash going to get a referral, take that bump or bruise straight to Axis. Go to axispt.com for more info, and feel free to Venmo me your half the savings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get started now? You guys ready?
Is this where the real questions come in? Like, are we starting now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to stop by a train there, Zach?
Yeah. A long train.
So when you put it in GPS, what did it say? Don't go there.
Don't go there. Run away.
We have a new voice on here with us. We're coming back in here. A little foreigner jukebox hero. I like songs like this in a tavern. Because as a kid, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is played at Shotzi's, probably.
Yeah, this is
a 10-cent jukebox.
This was on my parents' 5-disc CD changer, random.
Oh
disc
the
selection.
5-disc.
Yeah.
I think so. You guys probably know this, but the lead singer from Foreigner was the guy that did the Bud Light Heroes commercials. Real American Heroes.
Yeah.
That's the guy from Foreigner.
He probably made more money on that. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's like the I Love You Man. I had a buddy that lived out in L.A. for a while who was trying to get into commercials, and he met him.
Yeah.
And they went and partied, and then went to his house. And apparently, I Love You Man made him a lot of money. Like $10 million or something like that. It was a crazy number.
Yeah.
He's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
All right.
I mean, I say I love you guys all the time, and I'm not getting paid for that shit.
Depending on how much
gonna quit saying
partying and what they did in LA, 10 million didn't go very far.
Yeah, but if you had 10 million in the late 80s, early 90s or whatever, and you bought your real estate, it's worth more than 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I tell you what, let's have a little fun here real quick since Zach finally showed up.
Wow.
You like that? Let's do rapid fire. We're going to toss Chris and Bill a little more love because you mentioned it earlier. Like, oh my God, do I get to do a pinnacle point? Yes, you do. Because here's what we're going to do. We're going to do round 2 pinnacle points. What you got? 10 seconds or less. Go, Zach. What's your pinnacle point of the second half?
Carpool is extremely important when you live 45 minutes away from training facilities, and so make good friends with people that are on your team, or else you get stuck behind a train and you can't make it to the first half of recording.
Okay. What you got? You got another one? Anything you want to?
What do I have?
Yeah. Don't say the weather. Yeah, we're going to skip you. Yeah. Matt, you got one?
When you're picking your kids up at the school in the carpool lane, just be patient. Us teachers will get your kid to you. Is it going to make a difference if you get out of there in 5-10 minutes? Come on. Relax.
This is like a PSA. I like it.
Yeah, Matt, at the school that you work at, do people like line up an hour and a half before?
Yes,
pickup?
and it's funny because one of the teachers just saw a reel on Instagram and sent it to her, and it was glorious about, it was 2:30 is when the school gets out, but it's like, I'm going to show up a little bit early. It was like 1:45, and there's like 1,000 cars there already. But no, we've got a couple grandparents that show up. I teach a little grade school. Got a couple grandparents that show. We get out at 2:30. It's at like 1:50. They start lining them up,
and they're knitting in line. And
Really?
Are you an early person in general?
I am.
Jared?
I am.
Yeah, I am. Because I'm forced to be.
Okay, so let's say it's 7:00 movie, and you're going to go pay the $37 to watch Spider-Man 7. What time do you show up?
Oh, not early to the movie. I'm just early riser in general. But I mean, I get there at enough time to get beer and popcorn.
So how important are the previews to you?
I like the previews.
Me
I
too.
mean,
Me and my
I want to
wife-
watch the previews.
One of my
Kim and I
favorite
butt heads about that.
And I like to always like
she's
because I'm
late.
always
She's a later.
I'm always over in my wife's ear going Warenberg, Warenberg.
I thought that was your voice. I thought you were like the "I love you, man."
You know, my
He's
pinnacle
the voice
point
on the right side of the speakers.
Yeah, my pinnacle point is just another slam on Granite City. Do you know why Jesus is not from Granite City?
Can't wait to hear.
Well, there's not 3 wise men and nobody's a virgin.
Ba-doo-ch. You know what that sound is?
He's been holding that. He's been waiting
That's the
for the
air
right point.
exiting our show right now.
who-
Good job,
You know
Jared.
who's feeling good right now is
that?
Kansas City, because he's taking all the heat off of Kansas City and putting it on Granite City right now.
Yeah, whatever.
I love
look,
this stuff.
Frankly, we are used to it.
This is my first time.
This is not our first route.
If it was Sharks versus Jets and the Sharks were in Granite City, the Jets would be in trouble if it were
you know
Kansas
what?
City.
How about the Bears?
If Petch
The Bears.
is if Petch is listening to this one, you know how bad he's going to bust my chops over the amount of times we said Granite City in this one.
He is. But listen,
Anyway.
I just want to say that this is my first time to Granite City. Pavia's place looks amazing. I love the artwork and the shoe jerseys and the stuff. It's cool. You guys have the biggest blue building I've ever seen in my entire life.
Building.
It's 17 blocks
That
long.
blue building,
Yeah.
you might have heard of it. It's called U.S. Steel.
No,
yes.
I'm aware of it. I just didn't know it was.
In order to make steel, it takes a little bit bigger than a pole barn.
It was huge.
Yeah, it's actually my brother. My brother that just passed away. He wrote a song when he was younger called "Fire in the Sky."
Yeah.
And literally, it's about we'd be on the road to party in another town, whatever, coming home, and you could find Granite really easily. Follow the flames. In case you could see them from anywhere.
Granite and Wood River.
And the thing is, like the flame, you drive past the mill, and when the doors are open and they want to try and get some air in there, you see the big cauldrons where they're making, and it's scary shit. And then they would hire high school summer program interns for $15 an hour to like, hey, take this wrench and go release the pressure on that on that molten lava.
No thanks.
Hey, thanks, man. Anyway, let's get back to soccer. We've wasted enough time on this. We went into the break kind of touching on some of your program, the successes. I really feel like we need to kind of full circle this thing, put a bow on it. Give us an idea of, from the get-go, how many state titles, what years were they, and how are you looking going into the upcoming season?
Sure. So 2011 was our first state title. 2017 was our second, and then we went back-to-back in 21 and 22. And in between there, in 2019, we took third place. And back in 2003, which was my first year, we took second. Wow. So we've got some state finals, under our belt, and the 21 and 22 team, I don't know how else to say, loaded, I guess.
Yeah.
When you talk about when a team on the girls, we were just very good. We had great goalkeeping, which I think that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Because I can think of a handful of teams that probably could have beat us. But our goaltenders were just
Couldn't put it in the net.
yeah. But those two teams, special because those kids wanted it. And you were asking me earlier, when do you start? Those kids wanted to start when they walked in the door in August.
Yeah.
They all played club, and they played at the highest club. And even though they had to go to club practice And a lot of club coaches don't like when high school coaches want to have open gyms and open weight sessions, because now you're taking away, now you're double loading, which I get.
Yeah.
But those kids were like, we want to go, and we want to go now. And
Can't replace that.
no.
So
and
what do you attribute that to, though? I mean, is it just the culture of the school? Is it your coaching? Is it the why would they?
It's not the coaching.
Well, I was trying to throw you a bone there, Matt. But
He's more humble than I remember.
The mic adds
It's the
some
whiskey.
humility. So, I'm just curious. What do you think drives that mentality for a girl, a player who is working all day long, training, and then they're like, "But I want to go more. I want to do more. I want to do extra." What is that? Is that what's your thought?
One of the things that we talk about our tradition a lot. And there's a responsibility towards that tradition. And we take our kids at the beginning of the year, we go to the trophy hallway right in front of the gym. And, we talk about the past and look at all the things that we've accomplished. And then we talk about, the present. Like, what do you want? I always tell the kids, we're writing a book, and right now we got a blank page. How do you want to write it? And you see all these things here. Do you want to be a part of this, or you just want to fade away like some other kids have? And our kids just really grasp onto, like, you walk down and there's 4 huge trophies, and there's a bunch
All
of
the
regional
pictures
all the
and-
pictures.
Well,
You're in that hallway forever.
Well, you know what it is. The book analogy, you're spot on, because growing up here, knowing how many state titles we had, it is a book, and you want to be the next chapter.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be the chapter that this story's taking a turn.
Yeah.
So that's a brilliant way to put it, because these kids are super cognizant of that.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, though, my thought goes then to how to maintain it. And there's so many different high school sports. There's so many sports outside of high school that they can take on. How do you keep the pipeline growing?
The support that we have from the community is second to none.
Yeah.
That's great.
And these kids they've come to our camps, from when they were little. There was unfortunately the club folded, but we had Troy Energy, and we'd have Troy Energy night. These kids would come to the camp, or come to our games and on Energy night, and they're cheering for the kids. And we talked to our girls about, that was you 5 years ago.
Right.
So put on a show for these kids, make them want to feel a part of this program. They come over and they line up with the girls and, for the national anthem, and they're in with our pregame speech and all that stuff. So, it's the community for our high school is unbelievable. Like, when we won state titles and we come home, we get off the ramp, we're getting police escorts.
Nice.
The fire department's there. But then we stop at this little bar, time out, little bar in Troy.
Oh, I know that one.
And, the owners, their daughters have all played for us.
Wow.
And they are huge supporters of us, but we'll stop in front of timeout and there are hundreds of people there. We get the trophy out and the kids are just excited.
That's awesome.
I love the key phrase for me was community, right? And
I also think that in our show, our theme has gone down this high school versus academy, and let's call a spade a spade. A lot of these high school coaches have talked about what you can't replace in the high school experience, and that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Specifically in the culture, in the kids that started in Troy Energy that were ball girls that came, and then 5 years later they were playing. I have one question, and if you're not, I'm going to be pissed. Do you have 4 stars on your jersey right now?
Yes.
Thank God. Thank
so
God.
freaking cool.
That is awesome.
We raised money to get new jerseys, and we just put the 4 stars on our white and red, and now we're going to get them on our. We didn't have them for the black last year because the funds, but we fundraised, and I tell you what, our fundraising was through the roof last year.
Nice.
And
Congratulations.
so we've already said we're going to put the 4 stars on the back of the black jerseys.
So let's. I'm going to tread those waters, the whole club high school thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, we from the get go we've established you have pedigree in your blood through your family. You've been around the game the whole time. You've seen the highest level. You are super cognizant of what's going on in the marketplace with clubs and the expansion of, on the boys' side, it's further along. There's much more academy. On the girls' side, the GA is picking up momentum. You have EC now, which is right there behind it.
Yeah.
Probably taking on the majority of the girls that are playing for you. I'm assuming they play EC now. I just want to get your take on, because you seem to have a super positive attitude about it without even addressing the subject, in so much that you have a style, you have a mission, you have a message, you have a method,
A culture.
and it seems to me that, and I'm going to ask you the question, but it seems like you're like, look, the clubs are what they are. I am what I am. How do you view this kind of not toxic relationship, but this tough relationship right now between the two worlds, and how do you view it in light of your program?
I get it, and I like with what Coach Rensing said from Michigan State. I want to get the best players for my program, so I'm going to go to the MLS Next games, right?
Right.
So I understand if a young lady is wanting to play at the highest level, and for her to do that, she's going to have to skip out on high school to go play club. No problem. Okay, I want to do what's best for you. But my argument, if I'm going to put my 2 cents in, is watch those videos when we come back from the state championship, and you see when we come off the bus and all those people, and it's not just your family, it's the town is there. Students are there. I remember when Coach Mickler told you guys about how when they won, there was a gentleman in the stands. We've had the same instance where a player who could have been with us, whether it was with the boys or the girls, and they're now on the other side. They could have been celebrating with us. There is nothing like playing for your high school team.
Well, let me ask you this, though, because there are other coaches that we know of, that we've talked to, that we continue to talk to, that to a degree, look, they take it personally. Like it is an issue for them, I think, that goes well beyond really being objective with the landscape. You don't have any shortage of players.
No.
So if and when you do lose players,
Next guy up.
Yeah, I mean, you got a
gotta be.
You got a pipeline.
They're taking it personal. Why? That's not me. I'm not gonna sit here and try to pressure someone to do something they don't want to do. If you feel that club is your best avenue to get to college, that's
congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely, congratulations. And I give them stories from what I've heard, from what I've seen. Like, I talk about this. There was a young lady who played at UCLA, Haley Macy, I believe is her name. She's now playing professional soccer. She didn't play for ECNL. She didn't play for these high pressure clubs. She wanted to be with her friends,
right,
and play for a regular club team. She was also like a volleyball stud or whatever. But she put the work in. She sent videos. She made content. She went the other route and was still at the highest level.
Well, okay, so you just described what?
Oh no!
No. This is a good thing.
Do I drink?
This is good.
No, because the parents that are listening, and the coaches I know that are listening to this that do tend to lean on the more combative side.
Yeah.
You pointed out she did the legwork.
Yeah.
Her and her family did the work.
Yeah.
They probably made the videos. They probably did the research. They probably had the email list. And
First and foremost, she had the ability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and another. I was talking to my cousin about this. If you're good, they're gonna find you.
They're gonna find you.
Yeah, you're going to get recognized.
Yeah.
Kevin Robeson said the same thing, who is arguably one of the coaches at the most successful men's program in America.
Yeah. And we have Huddle, so all of our home games are recorded. We give all of our players access to that via, all we do is plug in their email. Next thing you know, they're logged in. And they can do, if they want to send clips.
Video.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, you're high school, right? You have resources at your disposal. And And I suggested to another coach offline, I'm like, look, you've got an AV department. If you want to start making a difference, why don't you take this film? Because they also have Huddle, the school I'm talking about. Go to your AV department, get some of the kids and say, hey, let's work together. These players need some highlight reels. Let's see if we can do something, college scouting or whatever. Be part of that process.
Right.
It's a skill set. Like, I think high schools and the programs, the people that lead the programs, you got to start thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And add to your soccer pedigree.
Right.
Your timeline is important. 2003, you started as an assistant at Triad, with Villa as the head coach, and we've already talked about his history. Have you noticed a difference specifically at your games in the recruiting aspect from 2003 to 2023 on the visibility that your girls are getting then and now? And I would imagine now your program is more successful than it's ever been with the long history. But what is your take on that statement or question?
Yeah. Villa was great at. He was a big fan of film, and so he recorded all the games.
All those old guys.
Yes.
They all watched
we
those.
watched film constantly before we went out to practice. So if anybody ever wanted film, all you got to do was ask for it. But now it's just like it's at your fingertips, and we're so plugged in. Like a girl could do it right after a game if she wanted to, and so now it's just so readily available.
Well, I guess I'm speaking from the girls' game specifically. In 2003, when you guys won early, when you're up in Chicago, I would imagine, Loyola, Chicago, some of these teams were at that state tournament, or Marquette or whoever regionally was there watching the girls' Final Four in all the classes in Chicago in 2003. In 2023, because, on the boys' side, we're talking 2004 and then into the early decade of the 2000s is when the climate started to change. In girls, it was a little bit later.
Yeah.
So my question is were their eyes on the Final Four in 2003 different from a collegiate, stance versus what they are in 2019?
Maybe because in 2003 we had some girls go to big schools. And I don't know if it's, some of those girls played for JB Marine. Some of those girls came over here and played for JB Marine. But now I'm getting calls from, people, you're not going to get recruited in high school. I get calls from college coaches all the time.
Well,
that's great.
Well, so the parallel as far as like conversations that we've had and listeners have heard this, Vader talked about his relationship with Kevin at IU. And, the only thing that has changed is that 20 years ago, the call would be, hey, who do I have to take?
Yeah.
Today the call is, hey, who am I missing?
Yeah.
Because of the way that the
ECNL, GA, all that stuff.
So do you find yourself kind of in the middle of that, or where?
I think
because again, I'm going to give you the opportunity here because there's going to be parents listening with kids that are younger that they're going to have a decision to make moving forward. So to a degree, like. Start a little bit of a pitch, like how you manage that process and the value add to a potential student playing for you.
I get a bit of a mix. So it's not, sometimes local coaches might say, hey, who do I need? Who am I missing? I'm looking for this. And then I'll give names. Sometimes I'll get a direct, hey, I'm looking at this girl specifically. What more can you tell me? It's a bit of a mix for me.
Yeah.
And it's all over. I mean, I've had some lower D1 to, the top of the line JUCO, looking for players. But it's,
well, let me just rephrase the question just a bit. Do you think high school should do more in establishing a protocol or a system to connect the dots better? To lay out at least a system or a pathway strategy for students to play at the next level?
The crazy thing, we don't get a lot of kids
that want to play at the next level?
No. That come to us as high school coaches and say, hey, can you help me get recruited here? It's not a
Okay,
lot.
yeah.
I would say the percentage is low.
So they come in
for
as
me.
freshmen, they have some success, they start to figure out in the meantime that they can maybe do this later on in life, and it's like, oh shit, what do I do?
So I would say last year I had a girl was, hey, can you help me? And absolutely, we've got one of our coaches. She's got a whole we've done a whole thing on like, here's what your resume should look at. And I've had my Uncle Bill look over this this is what you need to do. If you're going to send this out, here's what you're looking for.
Remind the listeners, Duke women's head coach, Colorado Buffaloes head coach.
And I use them all the time.
pretty good.
And
Yeah.
if someone asks me a question that I can't answer, I go to him. And he... Go ahead,
So,
I'm sorry.
Matt, do you think that low percentage is because they are relying more so on their club resume?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to be clear on that because I think that's the part that is a little different from the girls and boys, right? So because it's still not as contentious, in my opinion, and you can throw something at my face or kick me under the table, but the academy club versus high school in the girls' sport is still not as contentious as it is on the boys' side. In that a girl can play for her high school and still play at a high level ECNL. And I just read a stat yesterday, over 75% of the scholarships that came out for D1 came from ECNL, which meant they could play high school and ECNL. Only about 23% came from the GA. So are those girls that you're coaching relying more so probably on their club resume and the ECNL exposure for that kind of college?
I think so. And what I get mostly is, hey, here's where I'm at. I need a little more help.
Sure.
And then that's when we come in, and it's a letter to a coach.
Sure.
Or it's but I feel like it's more of, we're going to use our club status as the reference. And then if they need a kicker, I'm the kicker.
Well, your program, I mean, shit, if you guys win a state title, that's icing on the cake for that girl's resume, right? She's already,
I think so, yeah.
playing ECNL, playing at a high level. Oh, and by the way,
I carried this team to Chicago and
yes.
beat everybody's
Yeah.
ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
I was
and the
all
thing that's
state. I was-
unfair,
Yeah,
that
all
what I
conference, all
think JB
state.
was referencing is what the high schools are doing on this side of the river or that side of the river, is the way that the ECNL clubs and the GA clubs are posing it is they are setting up events around college ID events. And at some point, somebody in the high school ranks is going to have to be able to say, let's get these group of teams and invite colleges back into the table, and let's play an event in our stupid Misha rules or whatever the Illinois governing body is to be able to approach colleges to get our student athletes to go to college. And so that's the advantage that ECNL, GA, MLS Next has, because they are having events surrounded around colleges coming in to pick players up.
And I don't want to say that we're, as high school coaches, we're not doing anything. We're not.
No,
that's
no.
not the case. We have always put our cards on the table for our kids. Whatever help you need, we are here for you. If you need a letter of recommendation, I will write you. I've written a ton of letter of recommendations for kids in schools. But I mean, to say that they're not. We're not doing anything for them. I don't want to come off that way.
I don't
if
think
I am. I'm
anybody-
sorry.
No,
I'm not.
No, we don't think that.
No, I it's one of those things that there's not an answer, but I think you would agree, having grown up where you grew up, playing under a guy like Villa in a system in which academies didn't exist, playing on Busch teams that were traveling the country, kicking in teeth everywhere, and as this timeline evolves, and now you're in the world that you're in Troy at this program and having the success that you are, you realize things are changing, and there's not a black and white answer
Right.
to this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the other part of it is, and you said something like, you don't have a lot of kids coming to you asking. Here's what I'm going to say to that. Shame on the parents. Like, if the parents are going to add all this pressure on these kids consistently over time, like, yelling on the sidelines and yelling at home and yelling at coaches about playing time and all that, why don't you have like a strategic, a strategy there too?
Yeah, but I think there's another point here that there are a lot of girls and guys that want to play that don't want to play in college. They just want to have a great time playing high school.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they just want to win a championship for their community.
Let's shuffle it up a little bit.
Well, that's where I'm going with this because you guys have seen me over here. Like, since we don't have a stat boy, we need a stat boy.
Well, I'm very good at stats, but
No, you're
I'll let
actually
you
not.
go because I have to touch on something if you're not going down this road.
No, this is totally different. This is something I want to throw us a quick curveball because we were talking about Villa earlier. We were talking about how many wins. So I've done the research. Now we know he had 880 wins at Vianney under the men's program. He had 270 wins at Triad.
1050.
Oh, good job there. 1150, 1050, whatever.
1150.
Yeah. So he had that many wins, but here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at you, Matt, because your numbers are right below him.
Uh-oh.
He had 15 years. 15. What do you think his win percentage was at Troy?
Triad.
75, 77%, something like that.
79.
Okay.
Wow.
You know what your win percentage is?
75, 77.
79.
Yes, let's go.
Nice.
Yes.
You're right there.
Hell
so,
yeah! Congratulations. Hey, we have to talk about this. Your brother,
Okay.
Scott.
Dan.
Dan. I said Scott. Your dad,
Scott's
Scott.
my dad.
Dan.
That's okay, Steve.
This is in the family.
Dan.
John.
Mr.
okay,
Dan
Jordan.
Bettlach. 101 radio personality before COVID.
Yeah.
Done some other things. But he is now the women's and men's broadcast partner with Mr. Soccer himself. He looks like he's having a hell of a time. And I know that he's got people within those programs that are really appreciative of what he's doing.
Yes.
And he's doing a hell of a job. And I know his passion is soccer as well. And can you talk about your brother Dan a little bit?
Yeah. So my younger brother, Danny Bettlach, also known as Danny Pants.
Danny Pants.
For those of the loyal 101 ESPN, he was on the turn with Anthony Stalter and Chris Duncan.
Remember it well.
For quite a few years. That was he loved it. COVID hit, and then radio stations had to make cuts, for sponsors and the money situation. So, but along with that, he and this goes back for a while. He's been doing it for a while. He's been at St. Louis University as their men's and women's soccer program, their announcer on the A10 network, and he does a fantastic job.
He does. You're right.
And he grew up with our family. He knows the game.
Eating, breathing, sleeping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to do it along with Bill McDermott is it's an honor for him. And he was funny. He called me last week and he said, "Hey, watch the game. I think the women's team, there was a home game. I can't remember who they were playing. But anyway, he says, watch the game. Give me some pointers at halftime. Let me know what you need to talk about." I said, "Bill McDermott's sitting to your left. Why don't you bring him on? Bring him on at halftime.
He's been to every World Cup ever.
Yeah. And get his game time analysis. Because Bill does like the PA system for the games.
Yeah.
So he's not on air with Danny. And he's like, that's brilliant. And so he did.
It's kind of like this video I saw today. It was this guy talking about the strategy for Man City last year.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we score goals? I'm going to pass it to Haaland. I'm going to chip it up to Haaland.
Yeah.
I'm going to just throw it over to him.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got Bill McDermott sitting next to you.
Yeah. There's,
Or Timmy Leonard talked about Brian McBride.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to throw it
Hey,
up in the
Coach
box.
Joe, why do we have a strategy? Why don't we just punt it up there? Hey, I want to switch it up a little bit before we wrap up here. I want to get your take on 2023 St. Louis soccer, specifically our new bright, shiny toy over there at City Park, and that is City SC. Being a kid that has grown up, in the weeds of soccer in St. Louis, and a family that obviously eats, breathes, dies on it, right?
Yeah.
How proud are you when you see that stadium, when you see that team, when you look at the standings, and all of it. What does this team mean to you as a soccer family here in St. Louis?
It's special. My dad's got season tickets. He's taking Mom mostly because Mom loves the game as well. But
He's smart.
yeah. That stadium is just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see as they develop around it. It's just it's growing up for me, going to the indoor games, down at the old arena. And playing with the orange soccer ball in the hallway,
The size one.
Hand soccer.
Yeah,
Dude, how bad did you kick Dave Beck's ass at hand soccer?
Well, I can't say it on air because I'm sure he's going to listen. But it was pretty intense.
Oh, he didn't make it this far.
No. But
Most people dumped out. Thanks to Jared. It's okay.
It's about time. It's about time though that we got that. The St. Louis City.
Yeah.
And it is such a great atmosphere. And what they've done, who would have thought that they've had this success this early on in the program?
And why do we need a city women's team?
Well, and that's where I was going to go with this.
Yeah.
I'm actually, that's a very simple question, but I'm going to give you some clout in setting that question, the answer up, because part of the reason I think that the men's team is thriving is because of all these fucking programs that just kill it.
Yeah.
From Gallagher on the club side, Infuse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have all these high school programs over the years. There's a culture here that welcome that team and is helping buoy it.
Yeah.
The women's side, I think we all, we're expecting there to be a professional women's team.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be.
So how cool is it to know that you are official, you and your program are going to be a name that's going to be part of that same kind of tapestry, the foundation that when the team does come, assuming it comes soon, you're part of that. Are you excited about that prospect, and what does it mean to you to see a women's professional team here in hopefully the near future?
Yeah, if it still baffles me that the success that we've had. When I say baffle, I mean like myself. I know with the kids that we've had come in the program, of course we should be successful. But it's still, it's mind-boggling that I'm the one leading charge, kind of, sort of. We wouldn't, with the talent that we have, we wouldn't be what we are. But St. Louis needs a woman's professional, and I can't believe it hasn't succeeded in the past. Watching some of the, when you go out to the soccer park, and even when they started SIUE, it's like, how are they not? Why are we not investing into this?
I'll predict it will not take 27 years for us to get a women's team.
No, I agree. and
Touche.
There's so many places to pull from. Granite City, Wentzville, St. Charles, St. Louis.
Did you say Wentzville?
I thought Wentzville should have been first.
Bullshit.
Someone's got to make him happy, right?
I see what you did there.
But it's such a big area of soccer love, and you know what I mean? Like, there's so many places to pull from.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I agree.
Yeah,
and why is Lindsay Evermeyers your assistant coach?
Why? Well, look, she's big time.
She is big time.
She coached at Althoff High School for a bit, and she's killing it, man. She's a very good coach.
A good job.
Very good coach.
Hey, I'll be remiss to say this as here's the cue, and thank you very much. And I would love to see your dad soon. This guy will kill me. He's a close family friend. How many cigarettes do you think Chad Burton smoked a game watching Katie Burton?
You said cigarette. You mean packs? Or I'm sure it was. He had enough for many people, but what a fan, ultimate fan.
Yeah, sure. He's phenomenal. Love that guy.
I'm rolling us out here. It's that time.
Oh man,
we've
Motley Crue.
Yeah, absolutely. It's home sweet home.
Gosh darn it!
You like that? You guys all love this. Everybody in their car right now.
This is the only Motley Crue song I know, but yeah, it's great.
What do you mean this is
girls,
the only...
Girls?
Come on, man.
Oh, my God.
Dude, watch the documentary.
You're officially fired from...
Nope.
Hey, Matt. Thank you for joining us, man. This has been a lot of fun. And
thank you, Granite City and Pavia's.
I watched the Michael Jordan documentary.
Pavia.
I want to be Tommy Lee after watching that one.
Okay.
Can I just say thank you to you guys for having me? I don't know why you're having me, but I appreciate it. And what you guys are doing is great.
A 79 win percentage, 4 state titles.
Yeah.
Don't look no further than statistics.
I appreciate that. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. Please keep it up. Please.
Can I get a Triad shirt with 4 stars on it?
Yeah, I got a hat for you.
Let's go with the hat.
You
Hey,
look like a trucker hat.
guys, thanks for listening. Do us a favor, man. Just click like, click follow. We haven't got an email in a while.
We haven't.
SoccerDadPod@gaslightstl.com.
We need a promo.
Send us a note. Yeah, what are we gonna? You know what? We will do a party of 4. I'm gonna call it on the spot. Party of 4. Shoot us an email at soccerdadpod@gaslightstl.com and tell us what you like about the show and which one of us you don't like. And the winner, whoever has the best email, 4 Italian beefs and a bucket of beer on us
at Pavia's.
At Pavia's Place.
All right.
Oh my God, that's gonna be full of the Granite City dorks fucking emails.
Well,
It's a good thing your picture's not up on the website.
Jared, you don't need to worry about that. Given the fact that you don't know how to read, you won't know who they're talking about.
You can drive a tractor, though.
All right, we're out. Give us a follow. Thank you, Pinnacle Brothers and Axis Physical Therapy, Crescent Plumbing Supply. Appreciate all the support. We're going to roll out, little Motley Crue. Until next time, we'll see you.